It starts with me liking you, we liking each other. Everything goes well. But then, all of a sudden, I pull away, you get confused and asking questions, and I hit you with our favorite line. I don't think it's gonna work. Sorry. No, it's not you, it's me. I think I need to work on myself. I'm sorry. That hurts to say, but the feeling of getting hurt eventually even hurts more. So, it's a struggle I know all too well. It's the avoidant paradox. Welcome to a brand new series called The Avoidant Paradox. And today in part 1, we're going to talk about being emotionally unavailable. And this is gonna be a ride, so make sure you got your seatbelts on.
Emotional unavailability refers to someone who doesn't respond to your emotional needs or cues. An emotionally unavailable person has persistent difficulty expressing or handling emotions and forming close emotional connections with others. They may, for example, find it challenging to talk about their feelings.
Yeah, so I can definitely say that this was me for a very long time. Until I got to therapy, I didn't even realize. But there was something about me connecting with other people, especially romantic relationships or even friendships. There was always feeling something off. I felt like I was opening myself up, but I wasn't really like letting people close. It always felt there was something in me that was protecting me, if that makes sense. After working on myself, going to therapy, I began to recognize the patterns. And for me personally, I recognized that my childhood played a huge role into why I was avoidant attached, on top of course, other experiences I had in life, such as relationships, friendships, just life being life. There are different reasons why someone might be emotionally unavailable. For me, it started at a young age. As a child, I always felt like I had to depend on myself, and I couldn't trust others. So when I was young, due circumstances, I ended up in assisted living and quickly found myself in an environment surrounded by vulnerable people and constant temptations. At that age, I learned how to survive and realized I had to save myself. Throughout my life, I often found myself in situations where I couldn't rely on people. These weren't always extremely bad experiences, but one message kept coming through loud and clear. You can't depend on others. So I developed the belief that as long as I could rely on and trust myself, I'd always be in good hands. Of course, there are many reasons why someone becomes emotionally unavailable. Sorry, I'm so thirsty. Of course, there are many reasons why someone becomes emotionally unavailable. It could be past trauma. It could be the fear of commitment because they are afraid of losing their independence. Maybe the fear of rejection or the fear of getting hurt. But one thing we don't talk enough about is culture. You see, for example, I'm from Ghana. My mom is from Ghana, and in Ghana, I've been to Ghana a lot of times. I have family and I love Ghana. I love my roots. Don't get it twisted. But one thing I have noticed from culture is, especially Ghanaian culture, within our culture, we don't talk about feelings. We don't talk about past trauma. We don't talk about depression. It's like, you better wash them dishes before I give you something to be depressed about. If you know, you know. Drop it in the comments. I think what many people don't understand, looking from the outside, is that they assume people who are avoidant act this way because we enjoy it. But that's not true. A lot of emotional unavailable people, we have the belief system that love hurts. Love hurts. Deep down, that is our belief system. Our body, our mind, everything is going to act in a way that it's gonna protect us to not love, or let's say not love deeply. I'll never forget the moment I truly recognized this pattern in myself. A few years ago, I was dating someone, a kind, lovely person. Things were going well. But then we reached a point where we started to get to know each other on a deeper level. The first reaction my body had was to run away. This feeling was so strong, it felt like sometimes I even couldn't control it. I didn't understand what was happening at the time. Reflecting on it now, I realized that the thought of truly opening up was so scary and terrifying that I preferred to run away and feel temporary pain rather than risk trusting someone only to be disappointed. Does that make sense, guys? Let me know in the comments, please. I don't want to be alone. One thing I really recognize as part of being avoidant is feeling uncomfortable when others share their deep emotions or are vulnerable. When I was younger, for example, if someone cried, I wouldn't know how to respond. Instead, I would awkwardly laugh. So weird, right? Or if someone was being vulnerable, it would irritate me. Looking back, I now understand why. I didn't know how to handle my own emotions, so dealing with someone else was so overwhelming. And this creates a ripple effect. You start attracting people who are also emotionally unavailable because your connections reflect who you are. So if you keep attracting emotionally unavailable people, like men or women or friends, ask yourself why. Why do you choose to entertain these connections? Why do you feel safe with this type of connections? There's a difference between occasionally meeting someone who is emotionally unavailable, because that happens to everyone, and repeatedly entertaining them, because that says a lot about you and your patterns. But I think that's a conversation for another time. If you're ready for that conversation, let me know. Yes, I'm glad to say that I've healed a lot of my patterns and traumas. But don't get it twisted, it's still hard sometimes. At some point, you begin to see your behavior and patterns in real life. On paper, you can pinpoint exactly what's going wrong. But applying it in real life, that hits different. There were moments where I cried a lot because I knew what to do, but my body was still stuck in an old state. I felt powerless. But can I really be honest? This journey was so incredibly hard. Being so self-aware was often overwhelming, especially when trying to find peace while transforming into a healthier version of myself. That's where God came in. And to be honest, guys, I wouldn't be honest with y'all if I didn't include this part, because my journey with the Lord has been such a huge part in my healing process. First of all, I felt really guilty. I felt guilty about the way how I treated people in the past, and I asked God for forgiveness. Secondly, because I was reflecting a lot and I exactly knew what the points were I needed to work on, I could go to God and ask for help. I asked Him to help me in this journey, to give me strength to overcome certain patterns, certain thoughts or anxiety that I had, and if He could just be a part of this journey. And in Philippians 4 verse 13 says, "For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength." Anyone who deals with past trauma, with hurt, with struggle, knows how hard it can be to heal, to transform, and to change. What I learned through therapy is this. Therapy gave me insight. Therapy gave me understanding, clarity. But man, oh man, God gave me peace. And I'm just here to remind you, not to tell you, to remind you, you don't have to do it alone. You can choose freedom over surviving, love over rejection, and hope over fear. Thank you, guys. I see you in the next one.